Your Honor, with all due respect, I can buy this entire court and everyone in it. Those words hung in the air of my courtroom like poison. In 37 years on the bench, I had heard a lot of things. But this was something else. Let me back up. My name is Frank Caprio. I'm a judge at Providence Municipal Court. I've seen thousands of cases, rich people, poor people, everyone in between. But what happened on this Tuesday morning in February would shake me to my core. If you believe justice should be equal for everyone, you'll want to see what happens next. The morning started like any other. Cold wind outside, warm coffee on my desk. My bailiff, Rodriguez, stood by the door as always. The gallery was half full, normal crowd for a traffic violation case. Case number 2026 TR 48291, Rodriguez called out. The city versus Marcus Wellington Ashford III. I looked at my file. Simple hit-and-run case. A delivery driver had been struck while unloading boxes. Minor injuries. The driver filed a complaint. Standard stuff. Mr. Ashford, please approach, I said. Before the defendant even stood up, I heard the victim's story from the prosecutor's summary. The victim's name was Elena Vasquez. She was 42 years old, a single mother of 3 kids. She worked for a delivery company, carrying packages 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. On a rainy Thursday evening 3 weeks ago, she was parked legally on Broad Street, unloading boxes for a small restaurant. A black luxury SUV sideswiped her van. The impact threw her to the ground. She broke her wrist. The SUV didn't stop, didn't even slow down. Elena sat in the front row of the gallery. I could see the cast on her left arm. Her eyes looked tired. She wore her work uniform. She probably came straight from her shift. She couldn't afford to miss work, even to see justice done. Then Marcus Wellington Ashford III walked through the courtroom doors. He was 36 years old, tall, perfectly styled dark hair with gray streaks at the temples. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost more than Elena made in 3 months. His shoes were polished to a mirror shine. Gold watch. Thick, heavy, the kind that screams money. But it wasn't the clothes that got my attention. It was his face. No concern, no worry, just boredom, like he had better places to be. He walked to the defendant's table with his lawyer. Didn't look at me, didn't look at Elena. Just pulled out his phone and started typing. Mr. Ashford, I said calmly, please put the phone away. We're about to begin. He glanced up, looked at me like I was a waiter who interrupted his meal. Then he slowly, deliberately placed the phone face up on the table. Still lit, still buzzing with notifications. His lawyer, a nervous man in an expensive suit, whispered something to him. Ashford waved him off. Mr. Ashford, I continued, you're here because on January 16th, you allegedly struck a parked delivery van with your vehicle and left the scene. The driver, Ms. Vasquez, was injured. Do you understand the charge? I understand I'm wasting my time, he said flatly. The gallery stirred, a few gasps. I felt my jaw tighten, but I stayed calm. Sir, this is a courtroom. You'll address me with respect, or we'll have a problem. Do you understand? He shrugged. Sure, Your Honor. He said it like the words tasted bad. I took a breath. The charge is leaving the scene of an accident with injury. That's a serious offense in Rhode Island. You could face fines, license suspension, and even jail time. How do you plead? Not guilty, he said, barely looking up. All right, let's hear what happened. Ms. Vasquez, please stand. Elena stood slowly. She looked nervous. Her good hand gripped the railing in front of her. Ms. Vasquez, tell me what happened that night. Her voice was quiet. I was delivering food to Gino's restaurant on Broad Street. It was raining hard. I parked my van and opened the back doors. I was carrying 2 boxes when I heard an engine, really loud. Then I felt something hit the van. It pushed the door into me. I fell. My wrist hit the curb. Her voice cracked a little. I looked up and saw a black SUV driving away. Fast. It didn't stop. I tried to get the license plate, but the rain was too heavy. I couldn't see. Did you go to the hospital? I asked. Yes, Your Honor. My supervisor called an ambulance. They said my wrist was fractured. I had surgery 2 days later. I've been out of work for 3 weeks. No pay. I looked at her cast. Then I looked at Ashford. He was staring at his phone again. "Mr. Ashford," I said, my voice sharper now. "Are you listening?" He sighed, put the phone down. "Yeah, I'm listening. Lady says I hit her van. I didn't." "So you're saying you weren't on Broad Street that night?" "I'm saying it wasn't me." The prosecutor stood. "Your Honor, we have evidence. Surveillance footage from a nearby business shows the defendant's vehicle at the scene. The timestamp matches Ms. Vasquez's 911 call. The vehicle is registered to Mr. Ashford." I nodded. "Let's see it." The prosecutor pulled up the video on the courtroom screen. Grainy, but clear enough. Black luxury SUV, Rhode Island plates. The camera caught the side profile. The SUV clipped the van's door. You could see Elena fall. The SUV sped off without stopping. I froze the frame on the license plate. "Mr. Ashford, is that your vehicle?" His lawyer whispered to him again. Ashford leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "Could be," he said. "I own 4 cars. Hard to keep track." "Hard to keep track?" I repeated. "Sir, this is your license plate, your registration. Your insurance is tied to this vehicle. Are you telling me you don't know if you were driving your own car?" "I'm telling you I don't remember. I drive a lot. I'm a busy man. I run a tech company, Ashford Digital Solutions. Maybe you've heard of it." There it was, the first name drop, the first flex. "I don't care if you run NASA," I said. "Right now you're a defendant in my courtroom, and the evidence says you hit Ms. Vasquez and drove away." He smiled, not a friendly smile, a cold one. "Evidence can be wrong." "Can it?" I said. "Let me ask you something. Where were you on January 16th at 6:47 p.m.? He shrugged. "No idea." The prosecutor spoke again. "Your Honor, we also have phone records. Mr. Ashford made 2 calls at 6:52 p.m., 5 minutes after the accident. Both calls pinged off a cell tower 3 blocks from the scene." I looked at Ashford. "Still don't remember?" His smile faded. "Fine. I was in that area. Doesn't mean I hit her van." "Then why didn't you stop? Why didn't you call the police?" "Because I didn't know anything happened." His voice rose for the first time. "I was driving in the rain. Maybe I bumped something. I don't know. It's not my job to stop every time I feel a pothole." The gallery murmured, angry whispers. Someone in the back said, "Are you kidding me?" Elena's eyes filled with tears. She looked down. I felt heat rising in my chest, but I stayed calm. I had to. "Mr. Ashford," I said slowly, "Ms. Vasquez has 3 children. She's been out of work for 3 weeks, no income, medical bills stacking up, all because someone hit her van and drove away. And you're comparing her injury to a pothole." He leaned forward, looked me right in the eyes. "Judge, let me be real with you. I don't know this woman. I don't know her story. I'm sorry if she's struggling. But that's not my fault. I didn't see her. I didn't hit her on purpose. And frankly, this whole thing is a waste of my time and yours." "Waste of my time," I repeated. "Yeah," he said. "I have meetings, investors waiting. My company is worth $400 million. I've got 1,200 employees depending on me, and I'm sitting here because someone says I bumped their van? Come on." The lawyer grabbed his arm, whispered urgently. Ashford shook him off. "Let me make this simple," Ashford continued. "I'll write her a check right now. 10 grand, 20 grand, whatever. She can get her van fixed, take a vacation, whatever she needs. But I'm not sitting here getting lectured over a fender bender." The courtroom exploded. People shouted. Rodriguez stepped forward. "Order!" I banged my gavel once, hard. "Order in this court." The room quieted. I stared at Ashford. "Sir, you don't get to buy your way out of this. This isn't a negotiation. This is a court of law." He laughed. Actually laughed. "A court of law? Judge, let's not pretend. You know how this works. People with money get different treatment. That's reality. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's true." "Not in my courtroom," I said. He stood up. His lawyer tried to pull him back down. He ignored him. "Your Honor," he said, voice dripping with sarcasm, With all due respect, I can buy this entire court and everyone in it, the building, the chairs, your desk, your gavel. I could buy it all and turn it into a parking lot by next week. So let's stop pretending this matters. Silence. 10 full seconds of silence. I've never heard a courtroom that quiet, not even during a moment of silence. You could hear people breathing. You could hear the clock on the wall ticking. Then the gallery erupted, shouting, gasping. Someone yelled, "Throw him out!" Another voice, "Who does he think he is?" Rodriguez moved toward Ashford. I raised my hand, stopped him. I looked at Marcus Wellington Ashford III, really looked at him, at his expensive suit, his smug smile, his complete lack of remorse, and I felt something shift inside me. "Mr. Ashford," I said quietly. My voice cut through the noise. The room went silent again. "Sit down." He hesitated, then sat. I took off my glasses, cleaned them slowly, put them back on. I wanted him to feel every second. "You think you can buy this court?" I said. "You think your money makes you above the law?" "I didn't mean—" "Don't interrupt me." My voice was steel. "You're going to sit there. You're going to listen. And you're going to learn something today." I stood up, walked around my desk, stood at the edge of the bench looking down at him. "Marcus, can I call you Marcus?" He nodded, looking uncomfortable for the first time. "Marcus, let me tell you about Elena Vasquez. She wakes up at 4:30 every morning. She makes breakfast for her 3 kids, gets them ready for school, drops them at her mother's house, then she drives to work. She lifts heavy boxes for 10 hours, carries them upstairs, into restaurants, into offices. Her back hurts, her knees hurt, but she doesn't complain. You know why?" I paused. He didn't answer. "Because she has no choice, Marcus. She doesn't have 4 cars. She has 1 van. That van is her livelihood. And when you hit it and drove away, you didn't just damage metal and glass. You took away her ability to feed her children." His lawyer tried to speak. I held up my hand. "Marcus, you said you're worth $400 million. Congratulations. But let me tell you something. That money doesn't make you better than her. It doesn't make you special. It certainly doesn't put you above the law." I walked back to my desk, picked up his file. "You said this is a waste of your time, that you have investors waiting, that 1,200 people depend on you. Fine. You know what? 3 children depend on Elena, and right now she can't work because of you." I looked at the evidence again, the video, the phone records, the medical reports. "Marcus, I want you to answer me honestly. When you drove away that night, did you know you hit something?" He was quiet for a long moment, then, barely audible, "Yeah, I felt it." "And you didn't stop?" I was late for a meeting. I figured it wasn't serious." "You figured wrong." I sat back down, folded my hands. "Marcus, you stood in my courtroom and said you could buy this court and everyone in it. You meant that as a flex, as a power move, but you know what it really was? It was the saddest thing I've heard all year." His face changed. The smugness faded. "You think money is power," I continued, "but real power is standing up and admitting when you're wrong. Real power is taking responsibility. Real power is looking someone you hurt in the eye and saying, 'I'm sorry.' Can you do that, Marcus?" He looked at Elena. She was crying quietly. Her shoulders shook. "Can you?" I asked again. His voice cracked. "I don't know." "Then let me help you learn." I picked up my gavel, held it for a moment. "Marcus Wellington Ashford III, I find you guilty of leaving the scene of an accident with injury. Here's your sentence." The courtroom held its breath. "First, you will pay a fine of $50,000. $25,000 goes to the city. $25,000 goes directly to Ms. Vasquez to cover her medical bills and lost wages." His lawyer started to object. I cut him off. "Second, your driver's license is suspended for 1 year. No driving, not your SUV, not your sports car, not any of your 4 vehicles. You want to go somewhere? You walk, you take the bus, you ride with someone else. Third, you will complete 500 hours of community service, not at your company, not at some charity gala where you shake hands and take photos. Real service. You will work at a food bank. You will load trucks, unload boxes, carry heavy things, just like Elena does every day, every Saturday and Sunday for the next year, 8 hours a day. I saw his face go pale. Fourth, you will write a handwritten apology letter to Ms. Vasquez, not typed, not dictated to an assistant. You will sit down with a pen and paper and write why what you did was wrong and what you learned. 2 full pages minimum. You will bring it to this court in 2 weeks for my approval. Fifth, you will create and fund a victim support program, $100,000, for people injured in hit-and-run accidents who can't afford medical care or miss work. Your company will run it, and you will personally meet with every recipient. Sixth, you will record a 3-minute public service announcement about the importance of stopping after an accident. It will air on local TV and social media, at your expense. I paused, looked him in the eye. And seventh, because you disrespected this court, because you insulted the integrity of our justice system, I'm holding you in contempt. Bailiff Rodriguez, take Mr. Ashford into custody. The courtroom gasped. What? Ashford shot to his feet. You can't. I can, and I am. 48 hours in county jail, starting now. You'll have a review hearing Monday morning. If you complete the first week of community service successfully, I'll consider reducing the rest of your sentence. But right now, you're going to learn that money doesn't buy respect. Rodriguez stepped forward with handcuffs. Ashford looked at his lawyer, looked at me, looked at the gallery. For the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. Your Honor, please. Please what, Marcus? Please let you buy your way out? You already tried that. It didn't work. Rodriguez cuffed his hands behind his back. Ashford stood there, stunned. Take him, I said. As Rodriguez led him toward the side door, Ashford looked back at Elena. Their eyes met. I'm sorry, he whispered. So quiet I almost didn't hear it. Elena nodded, just once. The door closed behind him. The courtroom was absolutely silent. Then slowly someone in the back started clapping, then another person, then another. Within seconds, the whole gallery was applauding. I banged my gavel. Order, please. The clapping stopped. I looked at Elena. Ms. Vasquez, I can't give you back the 3 weeks you lost. I can't take away your pain, but I can make sure justice is done. The court will ensure you receive the compensation within 10 days. If you have any trouble, you call my office directly. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you so much. You're welcome. And Ms. Vasquez, don't thank me. You showed up. You told your truth. You stood up for yourself. That takes courage. I'm proud of you. She smiled through her tears. 6 months later, I got a letter in the mail. It was from Marcus Ashford, not typed, handwritten, 3 pages long. He told me he'd completed his community service, all 500 hours. He said it changed him. He met people he never would have met, heard stories that broke his heart and put his life in perspective. He'd started the Victim Fund, helped 23 families so far. He'd recorded the PSA. It had 2 million views. He'd apologized to Elena in person, gave her the letter. They talked for 2 hours, and at the end of the letter he wrote, Judge Caprio, I want to thank you. You gave me the hardest sentence of my life, but it was also the greatest gift. You showed me that I'm not my bank account. I'm not my cars or my company. I'm a human being, just like everyone else, and human beings have to answer for their actions. I'll never forget that. I folded the letter and put it in my desk drawer. I sat alone in my courtroom after everyone left that day. The building was quiet. The lights were dim. I thought about Marcus, about Elena, about the words he'd said. I can buy this entire court. He was wrong. You can't buy justice. You can't buy dignity. And you can't buy the lesson that we're all equal under the law. I've been a judge for 37 years. I've seen thousands of people walk through that door. Some leave changed, some don't. But every single one of them leaves knowing the same truth. In my courtroom, money doesn't talk. Character does.